constraint, but he has to also address the matter of insecurity.
As reactions continue to trail removal of fuel subsidy, more Nigerians are beginning to see reason with government over the decision. The coalition of northern groups have thrown its weight behind the fuel subsidy removal as announced by President Bola Tinubu. Spokesman of the coalition, made up of 150 civil society organizations in the north, Abdul-Azeez Suleiman, insisted that the 2.91 trillion naira spent by the federal government on petrol subsidy between January and September 2022 is largely responsible for the country's dwindling public finances. Meanwhile, Oyo State has begun moves to implement measures that will cushion the effects of subsidy removal on the citizens by reviewing salary of civil servants in the state. Derek, let's start from the civil society organization and looking at a strike was averted, and this is now time for the government to sit down and look at what can we do in terms of palliative that will affect everybody. Now we are now on the same table, so from now till the time that Labour has given, maybe on the night, to meet with the federal government, I think the federal government will need to come up with something comprehensive that will really touch Nigerians, because their hardship is biting harder.
Yeah,
the removal.
No doubt. No doubt the hardship is hard, and it bites. Then also, you'll agree that it's been mixed reactions trailing this removal of subsidy. But one thing appears to be mutually accepted, and that's the fact that it seems Nigeria just want to see the other side of subsidy. What if we don't have this subsidy again? What happens? We've been told so many reasons why subsidy should go. Now it's gone. Okay, what's next? We'll suffer some hardship for some time. All right, let's see how it goes. But what are the long-term gains? That's what Nigerians are waiting for. And that's where my concern is. If at the end of this whole thing, Nigerians are not convinced that we are better off for it, it will be a hard nut to crack. But while the suffering lasts, palliatives, yes. And I want to believe that for someone like President Bola Tinubu, who prepared to govern Nigeria, and if you take a look at his manifesto, his blueprints, and his plans, you will discover that he actually knows what he wants to do with subsidy. The first part is he wants to remove it. He has done that. Then he wants to ensure that the turnaround of it benefits Nigerians. That's what we're waiting for. Now, he has outlined how palliatives can help reduce, not remove the hardship, reduce the hardship. Because we must still, endure some difficulties for us to, while we wait for the result. But the Labour has made it very clear. How will people survive? That was the argument. They wanted to call for a strike. Somehow we have averted that. But government must, like you said, move speedily enough. Some state governments are doing some things. Let's take Kwara for an example. Reducing the days of working to 3 for civil servants. There are people who don't work in government, who are not civil servants, who are also being affected by
the cost of transportation.
The cost of transportation, it has reduced the cost of transportation for civil servants. But those who are not in government employ, they are still bearing the brunt. No impact of what he has done. Then you go to Oyo. Oyo is also talking about salary increase, review. That usually means increase. Civil servants will also benefit that. We must look beyond the civil service. This type of situation is not affecting just the civil servants alone. It's a general problem. And because we are seeing examples of what the states are saying, they seem to be focusing on the civil servants. The federal government must go beyond that. Whatever they are coming up with must be all-encompassing. the private sector, workers, and other stakeholders must receive the same palliatives that civil servants will get. Employers of labor, manufacturers, name it, because all sectors of our economy are feeling the impact of the subsidy removal. And so must the palliative be. It must be all encompassing. It must cover all areas that are affected by the removal of subsidy. And I think that's the way to assuage the worries of Nigerians and further assure them that after this darkness brought by the removal of subsidy, there is light, and we are bound to smile at the end of the day.
Julie?
Yeah, first and foremost, I assure you they didn't remove subsidy. We have to keep saying this.
Yeah.
To say he removed subsidy is to mislead our people. He didn't remove any subsidy. President Buhari's administration removed subsidy.
Yeah.
And it was backed by law. Whoever wants the subsidy restored has to go through the National Assembly. In fact, the whole idea, we still praise President Buhari for the PIA, which we had suffered for years trying to get it passed, which many people reason will revolutionize the oil sector. You can't have the Petroleum Industry Act and still allow subsidy to go on. They can't work together because that one is supposed to allow foreign investment, foreign players in that sector. Foreign players will not accept regulation of the sector. PMS is the only product that is still being subsidized. Even kerosene, that used to be the favorite of the poor people in our society, kerosene has no subsidy. Long ago, diesel has no subsidy. Jet A1, or aviation fuel, as some people call it, has no subsidy. It's still PMS alone. Now, what this coalition of northern groups are saying is, look, when we look at this whole thing, everything put together, something that helps our country to save money, money that we used to spend on consumption, money that we used to spend that goes into the pockets of fat cats, we can now free those funds and use it for something more productive. I can understand why the governor of Oyo State, for example, is already thinking of a salary review, because they will earn more from the federation account. There were months when NNPC refused to even...
Yes, because they said they
didn't admit
money paying for subsidy.
They were saying, look, subsidy has eaten up what
money
we
were
made,
meant to put to
what we made.
the table.
So there were months. And this problem, when Governor Yari was chairman of the Governors Forum, they've been battling this thing. I remember even the former Minister of Finance was fighting NNPC about remitting money that is not sufficient, you know. But an agency of government that unilaterally would take money by itself and say, okay, this money was not appropriated by the National Assembly, you take it from some sales that you recorded and use it to go and pay subsidy bill. I mean, I've never seen such a thing. Where did they derive the power to, on their own, not just determine the subsidy bill, but pay the subsidy bill from the money that they made? Whereas the law says whatever the revenue generating agencies make shall be shared between the three tiers of government. So we have issues with that. I'm confident that at the end of the day, yes, the pain will be shared. But let Nigerians know that sacrifices will have to come. Maybe for a lot of us, those things that we used to do, our lifestyle, will change. If you are filling your tank at random,
You'll be filling
you
your
now,
tank with 11,000 naira.
as long as there's availability of product, you just
That same 11,000
put what you
naira
need.
to buy what you can. But if it's 1 quarter,
See, if there are no queues, I don't need to fill my tank unless I'm traveling. If there are no queues, you just move in and put what you want. That's the way it used to be in those days. Before fuel scarcity now open our eyes to, let me fill the tank. I don't know what will happen tomorrow. So this will change. the rate at which even we consume fuel for our generators. But if government can fix electricity, because a lot of us, we actually spend more money on our generators than even our cars in terms of fueling. So that is the best palliative that government can give.
Okay.
Make electricity available to most Nigerians. They will not need to go to the point of buying fuel all the time to to power their generators.
All right, we'll take this breather. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still